How's it going, everyone? So today, actually yesterday, we started on the $200 E46, taking the transmission out. It's had a few little issues, you might want to say, and we had a little bit of rain, so we got delayed on it a little bit. If you can see or not, we have the drive shafts hanging down underneath of it. We have the subframe connector piece out. We have the exhaust down is laying right there. We have the foil cover for the dry shaft is also hanging down. Everything came out pretty easy. If you had a lift, you could probably do this in like 45 minutes. Had problems with the exhaust flange where it bolts to the manifold was stuck. Had some kind of mystery glue on it. I don't know. We like pulled and pulled. My cousin was here, helped me, pulled and pulled on it. Wouldn't come free. Smacked it with a hammer, just tried to jar it loose. Wouldn't come free. Thought it was welded on maybe. I got the air hammer out and just bumped it once on the side of the flange and it came right off. Really windy out here, but these windsocks should cover that. Hopefully. At any rate, it fell right off then. So I don't know if it was rusted on, they had some kind of glue on some kind of shady gaskets. Anyway, we bought all new gaskets for it. The dry shaft has a new carrier bearing, but somebody got a little stingy and didn't replace the guibo. And the guibo it doesn't look that bad when it's off. It's pretty toasted. But it was kind of all deformed whenever it was bolted in. Like the weight of the dry shaft had it all crooked. So what we're gonna do here, we have everything out except for one bolt. Of course, it's always the last bolt, which is the pain in the ass. Basically what's happened, the bolts that bolt the transmission bell housing to the engine, there's one on the passenger top, and those are e-torque sockets, so inverted torques. External torques, what they actually call it. All the transmission bell housing bolts are very tight, unnaturally tight. How you have to do these, we have the transmission is actually lower down. We pulled the brace out, which is right there, and you unbolt there's two braces on the back. There's a cross member, sits about right there, and the whole thing tilts down. Well, then you go above it with the 3-foot long extension and you take the bolts out of the bell housing. These aren't really made to do that. They're made to take the whole engine out, but we're not set up for that, so we're not going to do that. They're made to come out where the engine, transmission, everything slides out with the subframe with the wheels and tires and struts on it. You slide it out the front of the car. You have the car in a lift. You lift the car off of it. You're golden. Well, we're not set up like that, and you can tell we're working in the gravel right next to a fresh slab because it's a fresh slab and we're not going to put jack stands and stuff on it just quite yet. So we have a stripped off bolt. It didn't slip off sideways. It wasn't the wrong size. I had that 3-foot extension with a 1/2-inch drive ratchet with a 3-foot breaker bar, and I'm not exactly a little Bambi. I physically was not strong enough to break that bolt loose. And what it started doing, it started twisting that e-torque's head, and eventually it slipped off. So we have one of the two options here basically. We have a bolt extractor. Let me go grab them real quick. Okay, so here's a little better option what we're at here. We have the bolt is the E14, which is this guy right here, so inverted torques, and you have to use a universal or wobble head to get to it. Here's the bolt. This is from the other side, and this one is starting to get kind of chattered up a little bit. It's a pretty big damn bolt, pretty fat right there actually. So I have these extractors, but these extractors aren't big enough. I mean, sorry, they're not small enough. The smallest one I got's bigger, far bigger than what the actual head is, and I think they're too fat to get in There you can see the socket's got the black rubbed off of it. That's how close it is to the firewall or the bottom of the car. So we have two options left. One is to hammer a 6-point socket over this. Maybe it'll grip. My experience with doing that, if the bolt's not real tight, it'll take it out. My experience with taking these out that are super tight, with hammering a socket over it, it'll strip it right out. I guess the other option is, my idea was, I don't know if it'll work or not, and looking at the thickness of this bolt, probably not, is to get the air hammer up in there with a blade on it. And this bolt, the bolt in there actually turned out about 1/4 of an inch, then it just stopped turning. And I can't go in or out with it. So I'm guessing the thread stuck through, the threads are corroded. We did the PP blaster all we possibly could up inside there, try to get all that over there. So yeah, anyway, the bolt won't be so damn big, I could probably air hammer the head off, since it has a little gap from the transmission housing to the head of that bolt. And then once the transmission's out, hypothetically, you could take vice grips and turn this guy out. At that point, you could even heat up the bolt and turn out vice grips. We have tons of these bolts. We have a whole nother transmission, so we're not going to hurt anything in there. We just don't want to break an ear off the engine or anything crazy. So that's where we're at with this thing. That's why the transmission is not out. We are ready to go right back in with the new one. As soon as this one's out, we have today and tomorrow is going to be in the 70s. I pulled this apart the day before yesterday, and it was raining, and that evening it was getting down in the 30s. So it's pretty tough out here. That's the way this is. The lean-to, we can't, I have to wait till I get paid again to buy all the supplies for that. And obviously the first part of a tractor is going to put the really expensive lawnmower inside. We can't do that till I get paid again. YouTube only pays me once a month. And if we sell the silver car, we could do it sooner. But, you know, that's a big but. Big if that works out before this comes in. Need to get that done, something terrible, but it is what it is. Just have to wait a little bit. And I guess that I'm not going to end this video right now. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this transmission out by any way means possible. And I guess we'll be back in a little bit. For me, it might be 3 hours. For you, it's going to be about 3 seconds. Okay, so here's the final verdict for today. That bolt's not coming out. I feel like I can pretty much get anything out, but with the tools I have here, it's not happening. So I drove on the socket, E-series socket, with a hammer to get it further down and get it seated. I got about 6 or 7 turns out of it, and then it snapped off the little ear. There was already a couple of them snapped off. It finished off the rest of them. So that is physically a smaller head. Now, these Craftsman extractors, that'll take that out. I've had a 10-foot breaker bar on one of these and never did strip it out or break it. Taking out a fill plug on a Mazda RX-7 transmission, manual transmission, and it broke it loose and took it out. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to Kevin's house first. See, he has a set of these. I think that they actually go smaller. If he don't have what I need, and you go back to Sears or wherever I need to get it, to get one that'll grab on that head. Since I've turned it, it seemed like it was getting maybe slightly easier. I think we could extract it with that. Another problem too, these are also 1/2-inch drive. That won't work. So hopefully whatever Kevin has is smaller, or hopefully I go to Sears and hopefully get what I need. So I definitely take these with me and get one and the bolt with me and try to make that happen. That is what's going on today. It's 2 o'clock. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to go do that. This video is going to suck because there's no end to it. So I guess we'll do a part 2. That's it. Thanks for watching.